All right, everybody. I guess I'm live. What's going on? Give it a couple seconds here while people get in the loop, get back into the things. Hey, been a while. What's going on? Miss you guys. That's some. Again, I'm going to give it a couple seconds. Let people jump on here. Then I'll give you I'll go into my spiel. What's been going on with me? Things I want to talk about. You know, if you see what I wrote, we're gonna be talking about some things, AI and hippies and music and all other kinds of stuff, obviously like that. What I want though, before anything, hey, thank you, honey. I'm glad that you're here. What I want is for people to how do I sound? Do I sound fine? Is the sound coming across okay, my love? Let me know if you're paying attention. Actually, I should start with that. But what I want is I want you guys, hit a reaction, leave a comment, something that lets me know that you guys are tuning in, that you're listening, that you're paying attention, that I'm hitting you, that I'm reaching you, because otherwise, oof, hold on. Damn you. That's fine. Leave it there. Little crash happened here. I'm up. Okay. But otherwise I don't know if you guys are gonna be here. I'm fine, honey. I'm fine. How does my voice sound? Is it coming across okay? I just need to know. Because of the headphones that I'm using that don't have an automatic mic. So I don't know if you guys are able to hear me clearly or if I need to switch headphones. Part of the reason why I start as early as I do, I'm only supposed to go 7 to 8, but I start early to kind of work out all of these things. Get everything going. Okay, cool. Thank you. So anyway, hey everybody, I hope you guys are doing good. It's been a minute. I've had a rough couple weeks. Those of you who know my brother passed away, so I spent a little time up in New York, going through that process. I've also been sick as a dog. I don't know if I had the flu or COVID or something. I went through a few boxes of tissues. I don't know how the human body could have that much mucus in it, but I had quite a bit, which I was able to expel, get rid of, and still going through a little bit of it, still getting rid of some stuff. But, overall, I'm doing okay. So, right before I got here, Amanda and I were, thank you, brother. I appreciate that, Dave. I really do. Right before Amanda and I got here, Amanda and I were watching there's a show called The Dark Side of, and they have different ones. Dark Side of Wrestling is the one that started it all. Then there's Dark Side of the 90s, Dark Side of the 2000s, Dark Side of this, Dark Side of this, Dark Side of your mom, the whole night. So we're watching Dark Side of 90s. And it was talking about grunge and sub pop records. And I'm listening to all these old grunge people talking about, oh, we got together, screw the man, the hell with this, blah, blah, blah. And it made me think that all of those guys and girls who were in their early 20s at the time that they were screw the man attitude, this is the 90s. Coming out of the 80s with the metal movement, the screw the man metal movement, coming out of the late 70s with the punk screw the man movement, coming out of the late 60s with the hippie screw the man movement. And I don't know if you noticed something here, but there's a lot of screw the man movement. What happens is all of these people who are screw the man eventually become the man. And that really, you know, has to kind of I if I was still in school, I'd probably do a research paper on it. At what point do you go from screwing the man to being the man? And of course, you know, first of all, what does the man mean? You know, you're right, Dave. We all grew up and became it. And I have my own theories about that. We'll talk about that. Hopefully, more people are listening and more people chime in. Excuse me. But first of all, who is the man? And please don't say it's old white people, because it's not old white people. That's not what the man is. Though everybody wants to say that it's old white rich males. That's not at all. That's not all. I would say Hillary Clinton is as much the man as as George Bush was. You know, the first one. So who is the man? And when we say, you know, fight the system, fight the man, who are we talking about? And at what point do we become the man? Because people who are still saying screw the man are making money like the man. You know, and it's funny when you think about it, and it's the people making the rules, but who's making the rules? See, all of this, like every one question leads to another question, leads to another question. You know, and at the end, it comes down to us and how lazy we are. And I'll give you an example. And I talked about this with somebody else, and I don't want to get too much into politics. I really don't. I think nothing is quick. There's no quicker way for me to drive away the 3 or 4 people who are actually watching this to get too deep into politics. Well, there are people right now that are triggered because Trump is in office. And Trump won the popular vote. You can say what you want, whether he won it by a lot, by a little, barely squeak by, whatever. He won the popular vote. Meaning that the majority of the people who voted, more people who voted for him than voted for anybody else. And we're going to make it that wide. Anybody else, whether it was Kamala, whether it was a third-party candidate, whatever. So there are people who are going around saying, hey, you know, Trump won. And he did. However, the majority of people didn't even bother to vote. When you look at how many people voted versus how many people of voting age who could have voted. And I'm not gonna, let's not go into people. I got into an argument with somebody earlier. Let's not go into the BS of people didn't have ways to get that. Bullshit. That's bullshit. If you wanted to vote, you had a way to vote. You had the ability to go vote. Very, very, very few, an insignificant number of people were affected by not being able to vote. So the majority of the people who did not vote, the majority, for whatever reason, chose not to or did not, whether it was that they were sick, we'll add some of that, whether they had a something come up, car issue, family sickness, death, whatever. But I would say even with people who had legitimate excuses as to why they didn't vote, it's still not a significant number in the terms of the amount of people who did not vote. So what it came down to me is 2 things. One is laziness, People just didn't give a shit, didn't care, didn't want to go up, wanted to complain about it, but didn't want to actually cast their vote. And the second is people who are so disenfranchised by either candidate, they chose not to, right? Because they don't believe that their voice would have been heard either way. So we're in a system now. See, and Dave brings up this point where my Gen Z children's friends all said the same thing. It doesn't matter. And it's the individual, my vote doesn't matter, is what people are saying. But if everybody who said my vote doesn't matter voted, then it matters, doesn't it? Right? 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 million people said my vote doesn't matter. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 million votes that didn't get counted because they weren't cast. At that point, it matters, doesn't it? At that point, it matters. So, we get what we have today. A lot of people are not happy. A lot of people are happy, which is the one thing people forget. As Trump goes around doing his things, these are the things that he ran on. These are the things he ran on. And there are people who are upset saying he's not doing what the people want. No, he's doing what the people want. The people who voted for him, the people who were engaged enough to move forward and say, what this man's saying makes sense to me, I'm going to pull the lever for. So you see how every vote really does count. It counts in the majority. Right? Had those people who decided not to vote voted, we might have still had the same results. We might have. We might not have, right? The bottom line is that of the people who voted, what's happening is exactly what they wanted to happen. So Trump isn't doing anything that he hasn't said he was going to do. And he's not doing anything that the people who voted for him didn't want him to do. Let's move forward a little bit. Who are the people who voted for him? Well, a lot of youth voted for him. But a lot of people who were the hippies and the punks and the grunge, a lot of people who were fuck the man. And let's make no mistake, had they voted for Kamala Harris, they still would have voted for the man. Because whether you like Trump or not, or whether you like Harris or not, neither one of them are doing things to take care of the whole. Okay? And we use illegal immigration. Trump is doing something which a lot of people wanted, which is stopping immigration. Illegal. God, let's make that clear. Illegal immigration. It's doing what the people wanted. What enough people who voted wanted, which is to stop illegal immigration. And people are saying, well, you don't care. You don't care about the families that are being torn apart. You don't care about the people escaping oppressive regimes. Blah, 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 blah. Had you voted for Harris and she won, she leaves things as is. And let's not kid ourselves. Everything she was doing to slow down immigration, illegal immigration coming in the last 6-7 months of last year was all done for show. because it came down to the election, and people started to realize that this was an issue. It was an issue to everybody who had an open mind, who sought alternative news organizations, who didn't pay attention to mainstream media or paid attention to other people besides mainstream. They all knew this, right? But all of a sudden, Harris decided to act on it, or the administration. We could say they didn't care about anybody, did they? They sure as fuck didn't give a shit about anybody on the border whose lands were being overrun, whose the amount of, and I'm not talking about the people came over here looking for a better life. I'm talking about a lot of the people, these gangs that came up. If they weren't here before then, guess where they came in? And you can say all that you want about when somebody complains about, well, so-and-so was killed by an illegal alien. They go, well, would it have been any better if somebody who lived here killed them? No, it wouldn't have been any better at all. But the point is, it wouldn't have happened. Because that person was not supposed to be here to begin with. Nobody gives a shit about them. Nobody gave a hell about the number of homeless people that have come up, right? Or nobody cared all of a sudden about taxes going up, which were going up to, because of the amount of people that were coming in here illegally and needed to be taken care of because they were here, right? You didn't give a shit about that. People did. And more people who gave a shit about it voted than the people who didn't give a shit about it at the end of the day. Whatever the reason. I'm thinking the boombox too, Mama. That's my sister, by the way, Madeline. And she likes the boombox because she got it for me. And it's so I could listen to all of my Grateful Dead live recording tapes that I got. And I like what Paul's saying. Kamala thought and banked on abortion was going to win over all women almost practically. But there are many housewives that don't support that. And that goes to another issue, which is people who vote on single issue voters. And we have them, right? We have them on both sides. There are people who wouldn't have voted for Kamala, even if they agreed with her because of her position, her public position on guns, right? Second Amendment people, that's their issue. People who are abortion, right? That's it. They're pro or they're anti. And if Trump decided to be pro-abortion, he would have won by a lot more. He would have, because there would have been a bunch of people who would have voted for him, just based on the fact that he said, you know what? Screw it. Everybody can have an abortion. They can have abortion 18 years after they gave birth. Nobody gives a shit. Bam. They would have voted for him because that's their issue. Okay. My issue is veterans care. I'm going to vote for whoever I believe is going to take care of veterans better. That's my issue. It's not the only issue I have because I'm not an issue voter, but that is my overall issue. A lot of issue voters will vote on the one issue, though. So again, we've got people who are voting, older people who are older than the cultural atmosphere that led them to say, fuck the man when they were younger. And Paul, you're here, and maybe you could put something in the chat. As I know you're a person who still keeps in contact with a lot of the punk people from the 80s down in the Hampton Roads area. And how many of them have now voted that you would know if they're open to talking about it, because they still got to maintain that fuck the man attitude, which to me is bullshit. You can like punk music and be conservative. I'm an example of that. You can 100%. But how many people still keep that image up there? But if they've gotten older, have realized that, you know what? This fuck the man thing isn't really conducive to a proper way of life. Anarchy's a lot fucking better when you're 20 than it is when you're 50. I want you guys to remember that. Hate is acceptable when you're 50. When you're 20. Hate isn't acceptable when you're 50. It's bitterness. That's what hate develops into, is bitterness. And I don't give a fuck who you are. Nobody likes bitter. Nobody. They can tolerate hate, right? Jello Biafra, whatever the fuck his name from Dead Kennedys. Man, when he was putting out that shit in the 80s, everybody was like, yeah. If he sings it now, he sounds like a fucking idiot, doesn't he? Because what the fuck are you still complaining about? Especially if he made money and wasted it. You know, I find very little pity for people in their 50s who had the opportunity to make money and made it and wasted it. I'm not talking about the people who had the opportunity to make money and were ripped off, cheated. I'm talking about the people who wasted. I'm not even talking about people who wasted money on bad investments. You know, MC Hammer, who lost tons of money because of bad investments and because of taking care of all of his friends who all abandoned him when he went broke. I'm talking about people who made millions and wasted millions on drugs and partying. And now they're in, on hedonism things. And God knows I'm not one to ever chastise anybody for drinking, drugging, and fucking everything that you can. I was out there doing my shit when I could, as you know. But at some point, as Dave put in here, maturing and experience changes things. Let's hear that again. Maturing and experience changes things. Okay? As you get older and you decide, I want a family. I want a steady job. You know what? I want to buy a piece of property. Things change. Paul here, and this really goes, a lot of you guys don't know Paul, but I do. And Paul's really tied into a scene that I was tied into when I lived in Hampton Roads, and who a lot of people gave me credit for. Okay, because they got to see me in my actions versus read stuff. Okay, because I've been a conservative forever. Okay, Paul says, and if they ask me who I voted for, I'd probably lie. I don't want to be called a hater. But then again, the crime is up, price is up, medical insurance is up, and rejecting claims. Homelessness is on the rise, and inflation. Crazy. And Kamala is praising woke culture and abortion. This is coming from a guy who's tied into a punk scene who I would suggest was probably in his day very liberal. I would suggest that. I don't know Paul. And here he's probably saying this because a lot of the people who we were connected with, because a lot of them have unfollowed me after the election or blocked me or got rid of me as a friend. Fuck them, their loss, not mine. He's probably saying that now, putting it in the comments because they're not seeing it. Because they still need to maintain the image of fuck the man. You want to fuck the man? Vote. Vote the people out. You can. You can. When they say every vote counts, it does. The problem is you, the individual, doesn't believe your vote counts. And because you don't believe your vote counts, you don't vote. Like I said earlier, 10 million people believe their votes don't count. They don't vote. That's 10 million votes gone into the ether. Wow, I went on a lot longer with that than I wanted to. Let's take it back to who's the man. You're the man. You become the man at some point. That's really the bottom line of what I was saying, especially as we move forward and as all of these anti-establishment cultures, the people who are in them grow up. You become the man. The hippies who were smoking pot and throwing up peace signs and listening to bands like Cream became the man. The punks who were hanging out at CBGB's, listening to the Ramones, became the man. The heavy metal dudes with their fucking long hair, they were all about fucking drinking and drugging and fucking everybody they could, or getting fucked by whoever they could. All depends, right? They became the man. The grunge people, 35 years later, they are the man. Don't fucking kid yourself. Don't. It happens as you get older and you realize that you can't fucking live off your goddamn parents anymore. And you realize that that person that you love, you want to start a family with. And you realize that you're tired of living with 16 fucking roommates, eating fucking pizza and drinking beer. You're the fucking man. Now, what do you want to do it? What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do with that fucking realization, with that piece of information? You're going to grow up? Nothing saying that you still can't fucking listen to the music. You still can't believe in it, right? I listen to all types of fucking music. I listen to the Grateful Dead and love it. I listen to Cream and love it. Okay? I listen to the Sex Pistols and love it. But I also love my wife. I love owning property. I have my house. At some point, you got to fucking grow up. You got to. I have no desire to have homeless people on my street. Now, what can I do about that? Well, I can donate. I can work hard. In my case, I work hard to get veterans off the streets. Again, my cause, right? You can work hard to get people who have mental issues off the streets. That's your cause. To get drug addicts to reform, get them off the streets. That's your cause. Thank you, honey. I love you too. Okay? You can now do what you need to do to fix your situation or to fix the situation. Okay? I got out of the South Bronx. You want to know what one of the biggest fucking problems in the South Bronx is? Still to this day, right? It's drugs, it's the fucked up buildings, the shit, all that. Guess what? They're still voting in the same fucking people that were there when I was a kid. Okay? Still voting in the same people. Or when they change, burnt buildings. Yes, burnt. Or when they do change, they vote in people who promise them the same fucking shit that the other ones promised them. Stupid, isn't it? If every day you come to my house and you knock on the door, and I say, who is it? And you say, it's John. And I open up the fucking door and you slap me in the fucking face. After a while, I can't complain. Can't complain about it. You know why? Because after a while, I know it's 3 o'clock. I hear the knock on my fucking door. Why am I going to open it up? I know who's going to, I know what you're going to fucking do. Right? If I got the same piece of shit who's promising, excuse me, who's promising to help elevate our areas, and nothing's being done. And I'm not talking about nothing being done in a week, a month, or a year. I'm talking it's 5 years, it's 10 years, it's 15 years. Same people getting voted in. Same people. Same people screaming about injustice. Same people screaming about the man. Same people. And how you got to vote for me. Temptation said it best. Vote for me and I'll set you free. Rap on, brother. Rap on. How stupid are you? How stupid are you? I don't even blame the politicians. If they can fucking keep fucking pulling the wool over your eyes, they're going to keep doing it. Same people are representing your district with burnt buildings, Paul, with rats and roaches all over the place, with homeless people living on the street, crime going crazy. They don't live there. They don't live there. Not at all. But they get a claim to represent what you want. They're going to claim that. They're going to complain. They're going to claim to say, hey, I feel your pain. You don't feel fucking shit. How the fuck you feel my pain? When's the last time you seen 15 fucking roaches come scatter when you turn the lights on? You know, when's the last time that you went to go lift your baby out of the crib and seen 3 fucking rats, not mice, rats in the crib? You don't, do you? And I'm not saying I do that now. No, sir. Thank you, Lord. I got myself out of there. But that's the kind of shit that happened. I've told the story before when I was 7 years old, and I came back from church. My sister, my older brother Edgar, my mother, we all came back from church. And the building next door to us had either been knocked down or burned down. I used to say it was knocked down, but now as I sit here and think about it, I don't know. Anyway, we opened up the door, and the floor was black and moving. True story. There were so many fucking roaches in our apartment. The floor was black and moving. My mother closed the door, took us downstairs to the park that was across the street, let us play in the park, while she went and got the bombs, got 5 or 6 bombs, put them in the apartment, set them off, and then went up and swept 5 garbage bags full of dead roaches. That's a true fucking story. Now, $15 years later, that's when I got out. The Bronx, went to college, Albany, New York, moved. Never moved back to the city. The people who were running that district, when that happened, were still running that district. Whose fault is that? People like my parents, who kept voting the same pieces of shit in. So, we go back to who's the man? Who's the man? We are the men. Ladies, that includes you. You're the man. Woo! To be the man, you got to beat the man. To beat the man, you got to vote him out. You got to put in a fucking change. And you got to do that with the realization that you're not the fucking anarchist, screaming fucking liberal you were when you were fucking 20 years old. Because I guarantee you, and those of you who are old enough to claim to be liberal and to realize that you're not, okay? Liberal in name only, rhinos. You got rhinos, right? Will be the first ones to want to kick fucking people out if they increase the fucking crime in your area. The first ones, right? The first ones to want to lower taxes the minute your taxes get too high. The minute they do. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? That's self-preservation. That's the reality of you growing up. The people who give a shit about climate control, the Leonardo, the Leo DiCaprios, right? What did he do when his fucking house burned down or while it was burning down? What did he do? Got in a fucking private plane, flew down to Mexico to get away from the fires. The arrogance of that fucking piece of shit to tell me I got to watch my fucking carbon intake, right? The minute things literally get too hot for him, he jumps in a fucking private plane, takes a couple girls with him, and heads down to Mexico. Fucking hypocrite. But you know what? You'll watch the Oscars. You'll fucking watch the Oscars to see him. You'll fucking sit there and support him. You'll support fucking Al Gore. The piece of shit who has a bunch of fucking SUVs running behind the fucking stage of the conference that he's talking about global warming after he got to that conference flying in a private fucking plane. Don't you see the fucking hypocrisy? You got to maintain that liberal standard, don't you? Because fuck the man. You're the man. Everybody that you think is not the man, the Jesse Jacksons of the world, the Al Sharptons of the world, they're the man. They're the man. This is all common sense, man. Has nothing to do with fucking being Republican or being Democrat, being conservative, being fucking liberal. This has to do with opening your fucking eyes and just seeing it, realizing it, going, holy shit. Wow. Yeah, makes sense. Makes a lot of fucking sense. I was talking to somebody earlier today. It's a person I really respect and who I love a lot. And we were getting into a heated discussion because as we got into it, it started to become about race. It started to become about race and how the man keeps us down, keeps us, and I can say us, I'm a minority, keeps us down. Interesting. And yeah, you know what? I agree with you. The man keeps us down. If you're a minority, the man keeps us down 100%. What about the man's people up in the Appalachian Mountains? Wow. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Clark, by the way, miss you too, man. What about the man's people, huh? What about them? You know, the people who got their first pair of shoes donated to them when they were in their teens. Those people. People who had to carry water in buckets to their house. Those people. What about them? This isn't so much to me, as a minority, this isn't so much a us versus them excuse me, an us versus them race thing, as it is a us versus them rich versus poor. Okay, it's a class thing. You want to stop the man realize you are the man. And it is within your power as a collective. As a collective, it's within your power to make changes. A lot of that is educating yourself. A lot of that is looking into alternative forms of the news, which a lot of us do, right? A lot of us are not going to the MSNBCs and the Fox Newses anymore. We sure as hell ain't going to ABC, NBC, CBS anymore, right? We're looking at different places, right? Interesting, Robert. If you are in traffic, you are traffic. Who started the traffic, though? So some things, as you read, you need to take emotion out of it. Because, and it's hard to, because the minute you take emotion out of it, people say you're fucking heartless and you're a piece of shit. And you're not heartless. Okay? You're not. Well, some people are. Let me take that back. Some people are. But the majority of us will sit there and say, kick the illegals out, as an example. We're not heartless at all. It's just a matter that we want to take care of ourselves and we want to take care of our families. I don't see that as being heartless. We want to help those who are here already legally. Who are here legally. We want to help them. We want to help our own who are hurting, right? Can't do that if we got too many illegal people in here who are taking those limited resources. Now, to say that out loud makes me a heartless piece of shit. God damn, Alfredo. You are fucking a piece of shit. You don't care. Got to take care of my family first. When you're in that aircraft and it's going down and those mass drops, what do they say? What do they say? Put the mask on yourself before you help anybody else. Right? Because you can't help anybody if you're all panicking. Wow. Can't help anybody if you're all panicking. And we're fucking panicking right now. There's a lot of you, and hey, I'm switching it up here a little bit, but I'm not. Sarah, emotions are ugly, and they make us make some poor decisions sometimes. If you need to separate fact from feelings, 100%. And as much as I hate AI, and a lot of you love it, think it's the fucking greatest thing. Hey, ChatGPT, hey, fucking, I can put in this. Oh, look at, yeah, this is fucking great. Thank you, Dave, for saying I'm one of the nicest people that you know. A lot of people disagree with you. But thank you for saying that. This is where I'm a firm believer in fucking 100%. I believe in AI. Because when AI finally becomes 100% sentient, And it's the way it's going to go. You might be able to slow it down, but this is going to happen. Those of you who say that anybody like me who says Skynet is going to happen is paranoid or stupid or been watching too many movies. Nah, that is the natural ending to all of this. The natural ending is to take away emotions to make the best, most logical ending to whatever it is that you desire. So when we say we want to make the earth a better place, right? How do we start to make it a better place? First of all, they say there's too many humans here. We start by getting rid of humans. Well, who are we going to get rid of? They'll start with the handicap. Bam, I'm out. Right? They'll start with people with disabilities. Right? They'll start with people who are not contributing to society. They'll start with the drug addicts and the criminals. All of that just makes sense. You want to save the environment? You want to save the planet Earth? Get rid of humans, right? Because according to everybody, humans are the fucking problem. Right? We're the ones who are fucking slowly killing this planet with our fucking bullshit environmental whatever. Answer's easy. Get rid of humans. Get rid of humans, bam. No more. No more cars. No more coal. It's fucking simple, isn't it? At some point, artificial intelligence will realize that's the answer. And what are you going to do? What you wanted, right? We've all become slaves to this. We wanted this, right? All wanted this. Oh, it's convenient. Oh, wow, look at what we get to do, right? I'm as bad. I'm worse than all of you. Amanda will tell you. I'm addicted to this, right? Anybody with half a brain could have seen that happen. I didn't have half a brain. Hence why it caught me, right? But anybody who grew up in my era, the Pauls and the Roberts and the Sarahs, who grew up in my era, the Daves, what was the freedom we had before this shit happened? What was the patience we had, right? If I had to call Sarah and she wasn't home, I left a message. Sarah called me back whenever she got the message and had the hope that I was home, or she would leave a message. Pretty fucking simple, isn't it? What we did. Now, and I know I'm one of them, if I text you, one of the reasons I hate texting and I prefer a phone call is because if you don't text me back within 5 minutes, what the fuck? Why are you ignoring me? You mean I'm ignoring you, man? It's been fucking 5 minutes. I was taking a shit. You were taking a shit? Wow, you were sitting on the toilet. Could have answered then, because I know you were scrolling, because we all scroll on the fucking toilet. All of this shit that I'm saying is common sense. It's fucking common fucking sense. But we all think we're fucking something special. We all think we're different. We're not. We're not. Yeah, hit me up on the pager. 911 if it's an emergency. That was the message. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't care about liberal causes. I care about mine, like I said. My main liberal causes are veterans issues and anything that deals with veterans, right? So suicide, homelessness, proper employment, all those kind of fucking things. My issues. That's what I care about. That's what I work on. Right? Do the best to take care of your family. Do the best to take care of your neighborhood. Do the best to take care of your city. if somebody is saying they're going to promise you something, then keep an eye on them. And if they don't help you, get rid of them. Pretty fucking simple. Vote them out of office. So I'm a firm believer in term limits. This is all common sense. And what's up, Will? Billy, ain't seen you in fucking ages, man. I hope you're doing good. This is all fucking common sense. This is all things that if you're fucking in your fucking semi right mind, because God knows I've done my share of fucking drinking, and I've taken a few blows to the head. So God knows I'm not 100% in my right mind anymore. But I'm still in a right mind enough to understand what's right and what's wrong and what's common sense. If a guy tells you that we need to follow a socialist agenda and he owns 3 houses, he's full of fucking shit. If a guy tells you we need to fucking cut back on our carbon and he fucking flies to Mexico on a private fucking plane, he's full of shit. Fucking pretty fucking simple. If a guy tells you we need to let illegal aliens into our cities and he lives on 100 acres that's fucking fenced in, he's full of shit. Pretty fucking simple. It really is. You can make up any fucking excuses you want. But it's pretty fucking obvious that they're full of shit. Now, why would you follow them? If the world's climate is fucking rising and the United States is doing a lot and it's still rising. Meanwhile, India and China aren't doing shit. Why are you going to tell the United States to do more? Why don't you get on India and China to start doing their share? Might go down, right? We might be able to kind of offset some of that stuff. No, instead they're going to try to shame you. If people like in New York sit there and say, hey, we need to let the illegals in. And then the people down in Texas say, okay, we're going to ship these illegals up to you. And then all of a sudden it's a problem. Those people are full of shit. You're hypocrites. You're fucking liars. You don't care about other people. You want to virtue signal. You want people to believe you care. Right? Like all those pieces of shit in Martha's Vineyards who are crying about the people crossing the border. So they got 150 of them sent their way. We can't have this here. No! Put them on a bus and get them out of here. Why? Because you're rich? Really? It's okay to ship them to the Bronx? The areas where I grew up? Sure, there's a bunch of fucking them. We'll just throw more of them in there. But you're gonna tell me I gotta do it, but you're not? You're gonna take advice, or excuse me, not advice, but you're gonna go and condemn as a 60-year-old? Paul, if you're still here, you tell me if I'm wrong with this one. Okay? Bill, you can tell me if I'm wrong with this one. You got a 60 fucking year old person in Congress who's sitting there talking about woke culture. We're gonna talk woke, right? Want to talk to somebody who's saying, you know what? You drank too much. You piece of shit. You're fucking 60. You're 70. What the fuck do you think that was going on in the 70s and 80s? You were drinking your fucking ass off. That's what we did. That's what we fucking did. We drank. We did drugs. Grabbed the girl's ass. Girl turned around and grabbed my cock too. That's what happened. Now here we are, 30, 40, 30 years. Yeah, no, and I'm not, yeah, we all drank too much, but I'm not even talking about the people who drank too much. I'm talking about the people who got drunk once or twice. Got drunk 20 times in 10 years. 20 times in 10 years. That's twice a year. I don't think that's too much. Okay. And I'm saying drunk. I'm not saying blackout drunk. I'm not saying every fucking week or every day. Bill, you weren't a saint, but you're right. No girl did grab my ass. No girl touched me. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me about that. No. That was, yes, Sarah, you did grab my ass twice, 2 times. 1997, I believe. I don't know. Might have been 2002. I don't know. But you did. The point is, things were different in that time. That doesn't excuse something. Okay? But it also, you need to realize, right or wrong, that was the norm. And people didn't know better. You go around and grab a girl's ass now? Nope. You don't. Would I go and grab a girl's ass now? Unless I knew it. I'm kidding. Fucking relax. Slow down. I'm kidding. Would I go, a waitress passing by, would I go and grab her ass now? Absolutely not. I know better. I've grown up. I've matured. Society has grown up and matured. Right? But am I going to go and condemn somebody who fucking in 1987 turned around and grabbed a girl's ass when they were 19 years old, when they were 22 years old? No. And you're right. You might grab a girl's cock now these days. Oof, another reason not to sit there. Unless you, that's your thing. No judgment. Okay? But is that a reason to sit there and destroy somebody's life today? Because they did something that everybody did, which includes all of those fucking pieces of shit who were sitting there fucking trying to come down and say you were X, Y, and Z because you did it 40 years ago. When they probably did it. Probably. More than likely. I'd bet enough money that they did. You know? So yeah, I'm and again, there's a part of me that's sorry that I'm going on this rant. I really didn't mean to go on this rant. I wanted to talk about, that I came back and I'm happy to see everybody. I did want to talk about AI because AI is we're all gonna die. Brian, you never sent a dick pic? And it does depend on how bad the crime was. You're right, Bill. 100%. It does depend on how bad the crime was. But then again, all of it, what I'm trying to say is it all comes down to what we started this about, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And Brian, you're lying because I still think I got 2 dick pics you sent me. Why you sent it to me? That's between you and me and nobody else. But I'm kidding. That was 10 phones ago. I don't have them. But this all comes down to what we started talking about, right? Is that no matter what era you grew up in, and that includes all you fucking young people today. Not that I think anybody under 25 is listening to this, but that includes all you young people today. Okay, give it 10 to 15 years, and you're gonna find out if you're honest. You don't gotta be honest with anybody, but with yourself. When you look in the mirror, if you're honest, you're gonna sit there and go, you know what? Yeah, I'd like people to come into this country. Maybe not in my neighborhood. You just became the man. You just became the man. And I want you to think about that. And those of you who are still screaming about Trump and didn't vote, should have voted. If all of you as a collective would have voted, might have made a difference. Of course, again, might have cemented, it might have, might have increased Trump's lead. Who knows? But the bottom line is less than half the country voted. And of the half who voted, more people voted for Trump. That's why your vote matters. It does. If you live in an area that's really shitty and you're still voting the ticket, you're still looking at the incumbent and the incumbent and voting them in, you're the problem. Don't vote for that piece of shit. It's not like he's going to do anything to hurt you. He hasn't done anything to help you in the fucking 20 years that you've been voting for him. Use a little bit of common sense. Get him out of there. The next person might not do any better, right? Then you can vote them out. But the next person might fucking change your world. They might actually do something. And more important than the president is the person who you're voting locally. That state senator, that state congressman, the representative from your district. Way, way, way more important. So, with 6 minutes left, me only touching on hippies and AI and going on an hour plus rant, which I hope didn't bother as many as you people as I thought it might have. I don't know. Some of you guys who are still here, I don't even know who the fuck is still here. But I'm glad for those of you who stuck around. It's a hell of a way to come back after 2 weeks, huh? Do what you can. Honestly. Be honest. Rob, you know who you people are. Don't make me say it out loud. You know who you people are. But do what you can, honestly. You can have empathy. Right? I can feel bad for the people who can't get their mask on that airplane. But I sure as fuck ain't gonna help you until I put mine on. Because if I don't put mine on, now you and I are going down. You and I can't breathe. I want to help you, but I got to make sure that I am breathing first. So I think I'm gonna leave you with that, right? I thank you, honey, for still being here. I always get worried when I do this because I don't know if she's packing her bags right now, and getting ready to fucking, she knows I'm deaf, so I can't hear her if she closes the door quietly. But yeah. Anyway, I love you guys. I will be back again next Sunday. Now that I'm back, I'm moving and I'm grooving and I'm trying to get back in the flow. I don't think the conversation will be as serious. Who knows? I want to get back to talking about music and the 100-something Grateful Dead bootleg shows that I got and the new Cream poster. And talk about shit like that. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for swinging by. Thank you for listening to my bullshit. I'll talk to you again next week. So until then, as always, good night. God bless. And to my children, if you're listening, which I know you're not, but I got to say it anyway, don't forget that Daddy loves you. Paisley on, everybody. Bye-bye.